She told me she was working late at the office, but when I showed up, the truth was. Have you ever been hit with a truth that shattered everything you thought you knew? Imagine trusting someone with your heart only to discover they've been hiding a secret that could break you. It all started on a typical Tuesday night. My wife, Emily, called me, telling me she was working late. Nothing unusual there, she's always been dedicated to her career. But there was something off in her voice that night, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. You know that feeling, that nagging suspicion that something isn't quite right? So I decided to show up at her office. What I saw that night? Well, it's a truth I'll never forget. I drove to the office, the streetlights flickering as I neared the building. I thought, this isn't anything. She's probably just caught up with work. But why did I feel so uneasy? I parked and walked up to the entrance. The door was locked, the lights inside were dim, and no cars were around. Emily's car? Nowhere in sight. I pulled out my phone and tried calling her. Ring after ring. No answer. My mind started racing, but I pushed the thought away. Maybe she was just too busy. Maybe there was an issue with her phone. But the feeling in my gut wouldn't subside. Then something caught my eye. A small light on the second floor. A figure. I squinted, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. There she was standing next to him. It was Ethan, her coworker. No, more than that. He was the guy she always talked about, the one she said was just a friend. I felt my stomach drop, my world spinning. But it wasn't just them talking. They were too close, their hands brushing against each other. I couldn't believe it. Was this really happening? I watched as they stepped into a small conference room. I had to know the truth, so I quietly approached the building's side entrance and slipped inside. As I crept closer to the room, my heart raced. The door was slightly ajar. I peeked inside, and there it was, Emily, laughing with him. My heart sank as I saw them embrace, kiss, and whisper to each other. The truth hit me like a freight train. I stood there, freight train. I stood there, frozen. The woman I loved, the woman I trusted with everything, was with another man. The weight of it crushed me, and I felt a wave of anger, betrayal, and pain surge through me. But something inside me stopped me from barging in, confronting them right there. I stayed in the shadows, my thoughts spiraling. Was it my fault? Had I not been there enough for her? Was this something I missed? But no, this wasn't about me. This was about the lies she had been telling, lies that shattered everything we had built. I could have burst in right there and yelled at her, but I didn't. I knew I needed proof. I needed to confront her when the time was right. And tonight, that wasn't the right moment. I left the office without a word, without making a sound. The night felt colder as I sat in my car, my mind running wild. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to confront her. I had to know the truth. The next day, I asked her about it. "Emily," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "why didn't you tell me about Ethan? Why did you lie?" "I didn't want to hurt you," she whispered. But the damage was done. It was more than just physical betrayal. It was the emotional betrayal that cut deeper. We talked, and the truth came out. She had been lying to me for months, sneaking around behind my back. She told me she was working late, but it was always about him. But it didn't end there. Our two kids, Ella and Max, were home, waiting for her to come back, just as I had been. They didn't deserve this. I didn't want them to grow up with lies. I wanted them to know that no matter what, they should never let anyone hurt them like this. I wasn't going to let Emily get away with this betrayal. I decided that night that I wasn't just going to walk away quietly. No, Emily had to feel the weight of what she had done. I planned it carefully. I knew she loved Ethan, but I had a way to hit her where it hurt. The next morning, I drove to Ethan's house. He was at work, but his wife was home. I told her everything. I showed her the pictures I had taken that night. The shock on her face, the realization that the man she loved had been lying to her too. She was furious, rightfully so. By the time Emily came home, I had already packed up my things. I was done. She tried to apologize, to explain herself, but it was too late. I looked her in the eyes and said, "I'll never forgive you for this, but I will make sure you never forget what you did." I wasn't angry. I was calm, too calm. She was no longer my problem. I took the kids and left that night, moving in with my brother. We started fresh, away from the lies, the betrayal, and the heartache. Months passed, and Emily tried to reach out, but I blocked her at every turn. I knew she wanted me to come back, to fix things. But I knew better. I've rebuilt my life, and I'm stronger now. Emily had the chance to keep our family intact, but she threw it away. And as for Ethan, he's living with his wife now, but she knows the truth. I made sure of it. Sometimes revenge isn't about anger. Sometimes it's about walking away and letting life show the consequences of betrayal. And as for me, I learned that sometimes the best way to heal is to take control and never look back. If you've ever faced betrayal, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories that'll leave you speechless.